Welcome back to What RT Noobs with General Disturbance. This vehicle is the FV4101. It's a charioteer, otherwise known as Tank Medium Gun Charioteer to the British Army. This one's located on the north spawn of Serene Coast and it's under the command of Chosen Dark. Game on! Well, this tank is a modified Cromwell designed to have the 20-pounder gun in a slightly enlarged turret so it could take on IS-3s and other Soviet tanks. It's got quite a powerful gun because the 20-pounder at the time was capable of, believed, using armor-piercing pin-stabilized rounds taking out enemy IS-3s because they thought that they were going to be taking on Soviet tanks, and if it wasn't taking on an IS-3, it would probably be attacking and taking out a T-3485. Well, this gun is the 20-pounder, but at least I think it's the 20-pounder. Let's have a check. No, he's got the 105mm. I was so wrong. That's the L7A1 gun. In fact, they only made one charioteer with the 105mm gun, the L7A1. And it's the Centurion 7.1 gun, so yeah, quite powerful. Now the charioteer differed from the Cromwell because it only had one commander who acted as the gunner, a loader who also operated as the radio operator, and of course it also had a driver. And they actually took out the machine gunner at the front of the vehicle and stuffed extra rounds of ammunition in there. Now with the 105mm it's capable of 390 alpha, standard reload time is 9.68 seconds, and we can see that Chosen Dark's got a reload of 8.72, so he's managed to increase that a little. He's trying to give Tortoise a bit of an assist. Now despite the fact that this is named in the game as a tank destroyer, it wasn't a tank destroyer at all. In fact, under British Army doctrine, it was a medium tank, and it was designed to supplement the Comets and the Centurions if they had to defeat the Soviet tanks that were invading the West. Now the gun is fairly accurate and the turret is very narrow at the front, and it was designed in such a way that it could get a really accurate shot on the enemy the first moment that they spotted the enemy and do extreme damage with the first shot. In the game it's actually quite a laugh because it's fairly light. It's got a top speed of 52 kilometers an hour, and well, it can maneuver quite well, but the problem is that it doesn't have much in the way of armor. And so the idea with this tank is to stand off at long distance, about 2,000 meters, and take on the enemy tanks from a distance without being spotted. Now there's a brilliant video by Ed Webster at Armoured Archives. I thoroughly recommend you pop over there and have a watch because you learn so much about British tanks from seeing his videos. And I must admit, quite a few of the things that I learned about the charioteer. Oh, he got a shot into the rear of that one, the Waffenträger. Yeah, quite a few of the things I learned about the charioteer I learned from Ed's brilliant videos. Okay, he's going to have a double peck at that Waffenträger, and it looks like our teammate took the hit, but okay, that guy's down, and now we've got a couple of enemy tanks up ahead, including an Emil 2 and a Type 59. Now the Type 59 is going to be the problem one, I think, here. Although the Emil 2 does have very good armour on the turret, it's the Type 59's got the fire rate and manoeuvrability, whereas the Emil is vulnerable in the hull. He's going for the Type 59 first and gets a nice high roll of 504. Okay, the Type 59's disappeared from view, but he's chasing it because he knows that one's an easy kill because it's a one-shot. And there's a Scorpion G up ahead. He might take a bigger hit from that Scorpion G though. Oh, he stopped because he saw the Scorpion. Now he's going after the Type 59, auto aims on and gets him with one shot. Lovely done. That was very nice. The Emil 1's down, the Emil 2's gone. The only enemy left are the ones other side of this cap area and on the peninsula, and they're headed for our cap at the moment. There's the Striv S1. I think he's going to go straight in and try and take on this Striv head to head. Oh, wonderful! He's got his second kill. Very, very brutal that. He pushed aggressively. Oh, now a 416 flat tank. Puts one round into him, turns away to avoid the 416 getting a return shot, but I think he'll go up onto this bank, shoot down on the bugger. Yeah, got the kill, third kill. Very nice, got a high roll for 401. Keep pushing. There's an enemy arty somewhere in the near vicinity. He's loaded a Hesh round. There goes the enemy arty. One shot, 149 hit points, but the enemy is capping, but we're capping at the other end as well. Now he's decided to go over the edge of this cliff. He can go around the lake this way. Didn't suffer any losses there. The enemy's just lost another tank. They've only got two left. Both are in the cap, and we've got two in their cap, so they can't win. It's only a matter of finishing them off. And with the Hesh rounds, I think he can do that. Now, if I remember correctly, the Hesh rounds do less damage than the others, or am I wrong? No, that I'm wrong. They do 480 alpha instead of the 390. He could actually load the heat rounds, the HE rounds will do 480 as well, but they have less penetration, so he's much better off with a Hesh. Now, as I said, this tank was actually designed to use armor piercing thin stabilized, which is much more of a penetration round. That's its primary ammunition, and that's it. They capped out, so the game's over, and they didn't kill them all. Here's the end of battle results, and that was the second class tanker for Chosen Dark in the Charioteer. He managed to get a fighter badge for taking out at least 4 tanks. He actually got 4 exactly, and a fire effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. His win rate from that battle was 3,246, which is Super Unicum standard, so very well done. And he said, who said I have to be a TD? Well, as I mentioned during the game, it wasn't a TD, it was actually a medium gun tank. And this version with the 105mm, well, they only built one. Normally it had a 20mm gun, and it was a long-range medium tank that would take out enemy vehicles from cover from a long way away. So technically it was doing the job of a tank destroyer, but it wasn't a tank destroyer. It was a medium tank for sure. Anyway, let's have a look at the rest of the details. Well, when it came to damage, it was the Conway who did the most damage. The FV4004 did 2,659 hit points. The second highest damage in the game actually went to the IS-5 with 2,475. And the third highest damage in the game actually went to Chosen Dark with 2,401. The highest scorer on the enemy teams, that E50, the one he met right at the end of the game, he got 2,320 out of that game, so it wasn't that far from Chosen Dark. When it came to kills though, Chosen Dark got that one with 4 kills. 3 kills went to the T-34-3, who also picked up a Leather Slayer's medal for killing at least 2 enemy tanks 1 tier higher than him. And also the E-75TS on the enemy team, who also got 3, and the Conway only managed 2. When it came to base XP, Chosen Dark got that one as well with 976, 962 to the T-34-3, 789 went to the IS-5. He fired 8 rounds in that game, and every round hit the target, but only 7 of them actually penetrated. He got 1 splash as well on the enemy, 2,401 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. He damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 4, and did 251 hit points of damage assistance. I think that might be damage assist or spotting assist. Anyway, he earned 37,988 credits from the game, and after ammunition, respawn, and consumables, and yes, he did fire Hesh, high explosive squash head at the enemy tanks, and that cost him a lot because he ended up with a loss of 13,613 credits for the game. 1,464 XP, no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. But it's a pretty impressive game for what is called a tank destroyer in the game, but it's actually a medium tank, because the true name for the Charioteer became Tank Medium Gun Charioteer. I mean, initially it was called the Cromwell Heavy AT, meaning that it was a Cromwell tank tasked with anti-tank roles, but it wasn't it wasn't a tank destroyer. Nope, because tank destroyers were actually the purview of the Royal Artillery and not the armoured regiments. So anyway, let's have a look at the armour profile. Well, this is the armour profile of a Charioteer. Basically, it's Cromwell down below. As you can see, that big slab-sided armour on the front of the vehicle, the armour that the Cromwell drivers didn't particularly like when they came back from the desert and saw this tank with so many flat surfaces. They thought, oh no, we're all going to get killed. Because, of course, flat surfaces are much easier to hit and also they're much easier to penetrate. When you've got an angled surface like here, where it's only 30mm, but with a slight bit of angling, it goes up to about 55. So it's much better to have some angling on the tank. I think you can see from the front of this vehicle, the lower plate on the Charioteer is actually 25mm thick, but it's angled so well at about 72.4 degrees that in actual fact it has 51mm of actual thickness. So it's greatly increased the chances that the shell's not going to go through, and also gives the chance that the shell might bounce off that armour into the ground. The front of a Charioteer is also very difficult to see, and if you go to Ed Webster's video at Armoured Archives, you can actually see why he actually suggested that this tank was a long-range standoff tank that would actually penetrate the enemy with the first shot, and was very difficult to see because all you were seeing was effectively the front plate of the tank, and there's a mantlet behind that plate. Even though it's only 30mm thick, here, or effective armour 30mm, it was still pretty rigid. Of course, this is the 105mm gun here because it's got the fume extractor, and there was two types of gun on the Charioteer. The A version with the 20-pounder gun, which had no fume extractor, and the B version, which did have the fume extractor, and that's how you could tell them apart. The turret is very thin armour. You can see there 25mm, effective armour is only 25. So if you can hit the side of the turret, you're likely to go straight through. And of course you can see here, sides of the vehicle again, very, very weak. And of course you'll easily penetrate the rear of the tank as well. So anywhere near the rear of this vehicle is more than likely going to do some damage. Let's have a look at module. Well, here's the modules, and you can see an error straight away. And they've got the driver in the right place. This is where the driver was located on this vehicle. This person didn't exist on the Charioteer. They've put this in as a driver in the module map, but it's not there. He wasn't there in the real Charioteer because the real Charioteer only had 3 people. The TC, who was also acting as the gunner, the loader, who was also acting as the radio operator, and of course the driver up front. Now they put a ready rack in right next door to the loaders to load the shell in, and on the other side of the tank we can see the radio there sitting directly behind the commander TC, and it was the loader who was actually operating that radio as well. We can see it looking at the back of the tank. You can see there's fuel tanks either side of the engine, and there's the transmission at the back, and there's a large number of ammo racks right below the center of the turret. So if you can actually get around in on the side armor just above the tracks, you should be able to penetrate it and go straight through one of the ammo racks up front. In actuality, as I said, this person here who they've marked as a gunner didn't actually exist in the real Charioteer, and in fact one of those ammo racks was actually right next door to the driver. It was an extra place where they could store more ammunition. I think that's why they've put this little block of an ammo rack there. Anyway, so very easy to kill these if you can actually put a round in directly underneath the turret, and also put one into the back near the engine. Yes, you'll get the fuel tanks or the engine, and that should create a fire. I hope you enjoyed that replay. It was certainly a very fast one, and I'm pretty sure that if it had carried on a little while longer, Chosen Dark might have taken some damage from that E50, but I'm pretty sure he would have earned more hit points than his teammate in the one who scored the most damage, the Conway, because Chosen Dark actually had 2,401 hit points, but the Conway had 2,659. So if Chosen Dark had fired a Hesh round at the E50 and penetrated him, then I think he would have gone straight past the Conway score, and he would have ended up with a high caliber. But we can see here the Conway didn't get the high caliber as it was anyway, so he might have been short of the 20% needed to get it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give the video a like. Do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.